wife is married to one of those.
Great. Okay, I'm ready when you guys are. Stand by.
Welcome to Bloody Good Horror.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Bloody Good Horror. My name's Eric, and I'll be your host for this evening, where we will be reviewing Into the Earth. That is apparently where they buried the plot of this movie, John, because I don't know what happened, but we're going to talk about that coming up here shortly. Joining me first up from Richmond, Virginia, please welcome Caitlin.
When Joe asked me to be on this episode, he called it In the Ground. So it took a while to figure out what we were doing.
That's where I wanted to be.
I've called
afterwards.
it that many times, yeah.
Yeah. Next up on the show from Indiana, please welcome Casey.
Hello.
From Chi-Town, Chicago, Illinois, please welcome Joe.
In the Ground would have been a better name, let's be honest.
Yeah, it would have made just as much sense.
Yeah. And
last up tonight, from Maryland? Maryland. Not yet New York City. John, can we get a New York City update? How far? What's the countdown?
Well, we're like 12 weeks away, probably.
Love it. All right, we'll check in next week. Welcome, please, John, to the show.
Can't wait.
Hey,
11
next week, pre-update, 11 weeks.
No. Things change quickly, John, on the ground. I want to get an update in the moment. All right, so let's not.
Well, the lease starts July 1st. Like, I could just go up there by myself and start like living in an empty apartment.
Your wife's like, John, where are you right now?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Stripped to the waist, eating a block of cheese. No big deal.
Hitchhike up there. Yeah.
Love it. Well, we are here tonight, like I said, to talk about In the Earth. But before we do that, Joe, Mental Health Awareness Week month now over. So we, I guess, are returning to a regularly scheduled programming here, Joe. So please tell us what we are drinking tonight.
Beer guts.
It's worth mentioning that we got a lot of nice messages. I think some of us individually as well. Just people like, I know I had a couple of people reach out to me thanking us for just the, talking about these things, making them visible. So it was a cool initiative.
I didn't get a one, but that's great to hear. That's good to hear.
I don't think that's true at all, Joe. I actually know of one you got.
John, I'm sure got a handful.
I was gonna log in and check my Twitter mentions just to see, but and I didn't.
No, I'm kidding. I did get a few. I appreciate it. I got one. That's cool, guys. No, it's cool. Put into things. Anyway, In the Earth is a movie we watched. I couldn't begin to explain the plot to you, but a lot of trippiness going on, a lot of haze, a lot of funk, a lot of spores shooting out gases and juices and flowings and all kinds of repercussions, fluids, John, all the words, dripping juices.
Wow.
Moisture, a lot of moisture. Anyway, in honor of all those fun things, I picked a beer from the fine folks at Barntown Brewing. They're all the way out in Des Moines, Iowa, John. I don't know if you've ever been there. But the beer I picked from there is their Neon Hazy IPA. Because there's some folks in here, I assume they don't specifically say, but I think they just straight up trip sack, John, as we used to call it in high school, where you take some of the mushrooms and,
No, they showed them making the mushroom milk.
Well, yeah, but I don't. Did they specifically say like these mushrooms are hallucinogenic? Like,
I mean, that's
no,
what
they're
happens
just like,
after.
let's get some regular mushrooms and eat those in milk. Like,
anywho, Neon Hazy, as you might guess, is a hazy IPA, which I've done a ton of. Kind of like the big trend over the last few years. I love them. Big fan. Very sort of smooth, drinkable, not like overpowering with the hops, but still has that nice citrus flavor to it. Sometimes has a bit of a creamy mouthfeel, John, if that's what you're sort of into. Not not unlike a mushroom laced milk beverage, if you will. Barntown, the wife and I and the kids had the pleasure of stopping at a few months back when we were on our RV trip, and I loved it. Just a great place. We spent like hours there, so I can't recommend it enough if you can get out there. And I believe we got a couple listeners like right around the corner. I want to say Jody, but I could be making that up. But anyway,
Where's this place?
Des Moines, Iowa.
Jody lives in Tennessee.
Yeah, so right around the corner from Jody.
I'm not great. I'm not great with my middle
jump.
states. I'm not
Just,
good with my middle states, but I don't think that's the same.
Yeah. Barntownbrewing.com is their website, and definitely check them out if you get in the area. Oh, I don't think I said this one comes in at about 6.5% alcohol, so not super high, but enough to cure what ails you, and enough you have like 3 or 4 of these, you can still hop in the old RV and truck on down the highway. So
to Tennessee, maybe.
That is
just
bad
in order to
advice.
see Jody.
That's bad
yeah,
advice for the record.
get in your RV, head on back to Tennessee, like
Go
Jody
back to where
does
you
every
actually
weekend.
live. All right, thank you for that, Joe. It is time. Let's take a quick break and discuss In the Earth.
This is it, Senator. Your big break in TV. Got the prime time. Main feature.
It's In the Earth, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those weeks where every time I say it, I hesitate for a second. Not totally sure.
Debatable.
John, look at your hair. You look like you're on that show Gladiators from the 90s.
American Gladiators?
American Gladiators, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you look like your name is Laser and you're about to pelt me with tennis balls shooting out of a bazooka.
I mean, we could run that back if you wanted. I don't know.
Yeah, minus the muscles.
Yeah,
like
well, yeah.
spitting image.
Whoa, Joe.
Well, there's-
Whoa.
There's shots for that. We can take care of that, I think.
I've been called a trim American Gladiator.
John's like
Gotta-
when they need a fast one. When they need
I
a
believe
distance
the
running American
Jesus
Gladiator.
build is the term he would use.
Yeah, it was actually going to be my gladiator name was Jesus. And they thought it was a little on the line.
Rip
but-
Jesus. Yeah.
Jesus, I like him a lot.
Love it. John, this movie made me question words because it used a lot of them and I still didn't know what was going on. So
This-
I
we
can-
could have done a vocab test after this
yeah,
movie.
I cannot wait to see what you got here. So please bring us the word of the day.
Eric, today's word is mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza.
Uh-huh.
All right.
They said this one a lot. I would challenge anyone to spell it. Luckily, the Google machine, when I typed in some letters, knew what I was going for, and it brought it to me. Mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza.
it.
I
Yeah.
think in college, but he got it cleared up.
He's, I don't know.
Penicillin.
According to this movie, you might never be the same. So, so the mycorrhiza is, it's a fungus. I think it can be any fungus, but it's fungus which grows in association with the roots of a plant. It's they're in a symbiotic relationship, and what they kept referring to in this film was the mycorrhizal network, which is this concept that there are sort of like networks of fungi under the ground in the earth, if you will, that allow or help plants communicate, even interspecies. So like there's been a bunch of research. This stuff's like all pretty new in terms of like, not super new, but in terms of like the science, that trees can like communicate with each other through their root systems. And the mycorrhizal network is sort of the key enabler of that. It comes to us from the English myco, which means fungi, and the Greek rhiza, which means root.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fungus Among Us, John.
Yeah.
Incubus's first EP.
Classic.
You wanna look that up?
I'm very familiar. Yeah.
Does Comcast own that too?
Yeah.
It's on Joe's phone now. He has 30 minutes to try to unlock it. Do you want to play a game?
Eric, I was watching your eyes while John was explaining those, and I don't think you blinked one time.
I really like to pay attention when John's talking. It's my
Yeah.
thing.
I appreciate it.
Hey,
was
John.
good.
John, what's this movie about? You tell me what this movie's about.
Oh, I'm like kind of surprised that you all were like, well, you all, Eric and Joe especially, were like, I didn't understand the plot. Like, it was not sort of like that oblique.
Maybe
to
it's not
me.
that I don't understand the plot so much as I don't understand the point.
It's
Fair.
it's a slow movie. All right, so like let's get into it. So In the Earth, this comes to us from Ben Wheatley, who podcast participants will remember from Kill List, which was his second
I
film.
didn't see that one, but people like that.
He did Buffy the Vampire Slayer, right?
We
So-
did it, but I didn't see it. I wasn't there. That week.
Okay. Yeah. So Kill List, I mean, I love that movie. That's a great movie. And then Sightseers, which we also covered on the show, that was like, I think the movie he did after Kill List. He's done a bunch of other stuff since that people may be familiar with. There's a movie called High Rise. He did a movie that was also about fungus making people hallucinate, or at least like magic mushrooms at some level, called A Field in England. So he's kind of been around. He's been doing horror-y, weird stuff for a while. And this one, I believe we have a review on the site from Sundance. I think this made its premiere Sundance 2021. And yeah, so it is a pretty straightforward plot. You have Martin, played by this guy Joel Fry. Martin is venturing into a dense forested area in England. I don't know. I'm sure they like referenced something that would help you figure out exactly where this was, but I wasn't picking up on it. He's going to sort of aid in the research that one of his, I think she was originally like his mentor, but it's like a woman that he had worked with. They may or may not have had a relationship. They were definitely
Excuse me?
communicating with one another via like the post.
We should talk more about that because I have no idea what you're talking about with the relationship.
I mean, these were things that like happened in the movie. That, like
Yeah,
if you were
I
paying
do,
attention,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
you know,
I remember these words being said.
John,
so
my
I can't-
ability to pay attention to this, I'm going to be just real with you, it waned as this movie went on.
Yeah. I mean, clearly. But you know, the other thing that was at least interesting here, and I would actually be curious. I didn't read about the production sort of like timeline, but this takes place during a pandemic. Like it's basically realistic to our world right now in that like,
Yeah.
you know, he shows up, he's like being tested. I think even some of the research they were doing may have been tied to like the pandemic or something originally. Now, what she was doing,
Who can say?
well, what we come to realize she's doing is like very different. But yeah, so Martin basically has to go on this journey. He hooks up, you know, he's joined by this woman named Alma, who's a ranger who is like stationed near this forest. But she's basically like, listen, this is a big ass forest. Like you're definitely gonna get lost. So like I need to escort you to this this place. And so they set off and they go into this woods, and like weird stuff's happening. Although it's like there's no one around because of the pandemic. They run into like an empty tent. But pretty quickly, like end of first act, they are effectively kidnapped by like a crazy dude living in a tent house. He tortures them and like does a bunch of like weird art stuff with them. If you look at the cover art for the film, like the poster, he's like taking these pictures where he's like putting whites in their eyes. I mean, it's all like crazy.
Weird art stuff.
No, but like I don't know. How else would you explain what he was
Forces them to reenact that scene from Ghost.
doing? Yes.
As tribute.
So yeah, I mean, like there's just
That's fine.
there's
John.
just like funky stuff happening, and then eventually they have to escape from him and make it to the ultimate destination,
Which is exposition.
which then takes like its own crazy turns. So
Sure.
was that helpful, Eric? I don't know.
Not
Did you
really.
get-
Kaylin, what do you think about this movie?
This one didn't really land for me, and I'm kind of bummed because I feel like it's primed for me to really like it. I like movies that touch on like psychedelics and hallucinogens. Like, check, I'm there for that. There's folk magic in the woods. They mentioned the Malleus Maleficarum, the Hammer of Witches. I was like, oh, check. There's a after subplot, there's a pandemic subplot, but it's really in the background. But it just kind of, I don't know, it didn't really gel for me. And I felt really bad for Martin. He goes through it. If you are into feet and gore, this might be your thing.
No, neither.
But yeah, I don't know. It just felt like it was going in a lot of different directions, and I wish that it had taken one that I liked, but it just made me anxious and a little frustrated. And the only one that I really trusted was Alma. She was just trying so hard to get everyone safe, and God bless her. But,
Yeah.
She's the only one that mattered, right? Alma mattered.
Right.
Joe.
Yeah, just can you cut this, Mike?
I think I'd wrap it up.
Joe.
Eric, you want to pick somebody else?
Yeah,
or just...
Joe.
Yeah.
I said it like 3 times for the record.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Did anybody else?
No, I didn't hear me either, Joe.
Despite my ribbing, I think I'm probably gonna land a little closer to John on this one. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I do agree, Caitlin. I think you mentioned over the email that specifically when they kind of get kidnapped, there is a weird sort of tone to this, and I wasn't quite sure like what they were kind of going for, because some of the, Martin gets into like a little bit of a torture-y situation, and it almost feels like it's being played for laughs, even to the point where, and I don't think like we're spoiling much because it, eventually they do escape and, other things start happening, but like he still kind of goes through some like goofy mishaps. So it was a little bit of a weird tone there, but then it settled down a bit again. And I really enjoyed specifically when they kind of met the other, I guess, scientist, whatever we want to call her. I think Olivia, right? She was the one that they bump into after.
Yeah. Oh, Dr. Wendell. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Like I really kind of enjoyed watching that unfold. And then when we do kind of get to the point of like, they start tripping for whatever reason. I mean, I think I'll agree with Eric there. I wasn't quite clear on like why a lot of the stuff was happening there, but I just kind of went for the ride. And at the end of the day, I think I ended up enjoying this a good amount. I think.
He thinks. Casey.
I actually like this movie quite a bit too. It is a weird pace. It's slow. It can be challenging, but going into a Ben Wheatley movie, I kind of figured that. And I've become a fan of his movies from the ones we've watched through here over the years too. And so I kind of knew what to expect, and I got what I was expecting. I would say I like the cast. I like the pacing. I was even down with the story for the most part, though, even though it was out there. It kind of hits those cosmic horror, a little bit Lovecraftian, a little bit folk horror, like Caitlin was talking about and whatnot. Hits those notes, so that was nice. I didn't have a challenge with the pace. My only problem is with like the trippier scenes that you see in this movie early on in the movie. I was down with those and understood what was going on and what they were trying to convey. I would say that as much as I did enjoy this to the end, the ending kind of lost me more so because I just didn't understand.
Same. John?
I'm not going to sit here and say that I understood everything that's going on in this movie. So
it's not just like whatever. I have some like structural issues.
I really like this movie a lot. It's sort of like a horror sci-fi movie in a lot of ways, but as Caitlin, sort of said, they tee up this folk magic, folk horror, like Spirit of the Woods thing. And so, really what you get to when they arrive at this sort of camp is this woman who, may or may not have unlocked, quote unquote, unlocked an ability to communicate with the mycorrhiza, which like she has kind of taken a step further to say she can like communicate with like the whole forest or even the whole earth. Like it goes to like some pretty extreme places, which I just like that's like the kind of like, stoner, sci-fi horror shit that I'm like, sign me up for. It is like, it's weirdly paced at times. It's like pretty grim. Like there's like some like when the foot torture stuff is like not a joke, but it was like handled in a darkly comic way. I mean, so this sequence, he keeps like saying he's gonna chop off his toes, and he's like, I gotta line it up, and then he like swings, and he's like, that was my practice, you know, and then he like, I don't know, it was very strange.
It's weird, and then because of how grim the movie is, like those moments kind of come out of nowhere in a weird way.
Yeah, but you know, it's also, I think Wheatley, who wrote and directed, you know, he knows, like, this is a stoner movie. Like, at the end of the movie, there's a bunch of just like, you know, I don't even, what do you even call that? Where it's like, you know, just a bunch of scenes of plants like doing shit with like weird colors. I mean, like, it's whack.
I call it, they bought some plugins for Adobe Premiere and they really wanted to test them out.
Oh, yeah, but like, I don't think anyone's saying that was like hard to do, but like getting to that and like as a like asking the viewer to like walk up to that point and not go like, you know, like get me the fuck out of here.
That's what
like
I
I was with it and like, you know, wrote it through that. I mean, we can talk about the ending at some point. Like it's I like the concepts that he's trying to play with here. It was probably like my biggest critique is like you could have cut 10 minutes without a whole lot of damage to the movie. But I also think this is the kind of movie that like a languorous pace is intentional.
You could have
and
cut
like,
all the stuff about the pandemic because it has absolutely nothing to do with the movie. You could have cut all that BS pandemic protocol stuff in the beginning. It has
But
nothing
it
to
does
do
kind
with
of
the
explain
movie.
like why they were so isolated, right? Like
Kind of.
Yeah.
Like you could have done that a million other ways. It's just very weird. They don't even really give you information about what it is because they talk about not being outside specifically and not just like not being around other people.
Yeah, but with them giving you that information up front, they don't really need it. With the world we live in right now, they don't need to give you that info. They say pandemic.
I think it's a
distancing,
personal
they know
thing.
what you're going through.
It's a personal thing for me. If you're not going to make it the point that you're saying something about it, I've lived this. I don't need it in my movies unless you're trying to like say something about it. Because the problem I have is that it majorly screws up to me the like plot structure because the first 20 minutes once they get kidnapped, it's like barely anything you saw in the first 20 minutes actually comes back to be relevant to the movie. So I've just spent all that time trying to orient myself, and now it's a totally different movie. And then they don't get
there's
to...
a couple, can I just jump in? Because there's actually like several really important plot points that get set up in the first like 10 minutes. He has ringworm, which in the end becomes like, well, it ultimately becomes like one of the most important parts of the the finale. He has the ringworm. And I think the other thing around the pandemic, and look, like whether you want to see movies about pandemics or not, like there's going to be a lot. Like as Casey was saying, like we've all lived through it. All the people making movies have lived through it. So there's going to be like processing of that. But the his mental state is pretty important, and like that is teed up, and as well as the relationship he has to this doctor, all in that first like 10-20 minutes. Whether or not that's effective or work for you, like
I'll give this a compliment sandwich. That's what I was going. No, let's call this a compliment open face sandwich because I don't really have good things to end it with. But I'll start it with a piece of bread. There are some like visually striking moments in this movie, and some moments where I actually think there's some interesting stuff going on visually. Sonically, let's say, I very much enjoyed the score and the sound design of this movie. I think that the script for this probably, when you get up to the finale, probably said something like quick cuts of plants, and to me like that's not enough. Like I've watched movies with endings like this. It's a real fine needle to thread, and I don't think they really nail it. But the larger problem for me is that the pacing is like languid, I would call it. It's not really just because I can get into a slow burn if you're kind of drip feeding out enough, but they're going so mysterious in the beginning, and even the stuff they're giving you, it's like they're just not, they needed a little more context for me anyway to like feel invested. You don't get real context for this movie until almost an hour and 5 minutes into it when they run into the professor. This poor actress, I feel so bad for her because her only job is to say really silly things really confidently that like we don't know where she got this information from. She just says it like, and we're just supposed to sort of accept it for like all she does is give exposition. That's all she does.
She had the iTunes visualizer setting. Thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's just
I
like
believe that was Winamp, John.
I found it extremely jarring to have like an hour or 5 minutes of like extreme mystery in a story, and then 20 straight minutes of her being like, actually it's this, actually that means this and this and this, and then this, and like It's very
She
weird.
had more lines than anyone else for sure.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
right, and she doesn't show up until after an hour, which is crazy. It's like somebody watched Avatar and The Happening, and was like, "I got this. I can do this better." I texted Caitlin at one point during this movie. This person who wrote this 100%, two things: owns a salt lamp, and eats chia seeds for breakfast.
I don't even know what a salt lamp is.
No, me
That's
either.
because you're not a hippie, John. Like a Himalayan salt lamp, it's a whole thing.
I
You know,
have
it just
one right here.
cleanses your
Oh.
aura, John. You know.
I thought those aren't safe, are they? I thought they.
I actually
they're
read
like
somewhere that
explode-
they're not. Interestingly enough, yeah.
Huh. There's Caitlin.
And I
Sorry.
do
Oh,
eat-
Caitlin, please be careful. Also, what are all those boxes?
Those are my.
She just got a
plug it up
computer.
pro.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Anyway, I do eat chia seeds, John. Listen, I recognize my own kind. Is all
I was
I'm
about to
saying.
say, Eric, aren't you like half of that
But this is
statement?
anyway.
Yeah, you were also like loving. I can't remember.
just-
what the movie
listen,
was,
I
but
just
you
didn't
loved
like-
the like other Getting High movie.
I
that we
didn't like
watched
the
recently.
screenplay because I felt like they're just so enamored with this idea of this like plant network, and they're like, it's almost like navel gazy about it, and and they just keep coming back to it of like, and it's a lot of this actress's delivery. She's like, all of the plants and Gaia and the fungus, and they communicate. And it's like, okay, but what's the movie part? Like, I'm here for the movie. I showed up for the movie. Where is it? So I don't know. I think there's a lot of pacing issues, and I think they don't necessarily bring it together in the end. Man, it's been a while since I actually got like kind of agitated at the pacing of a movie, but I would say that's where I was with this one.
You rant about every movie that's over 90 minutes long. Like, you're
This
always
made
agitated
me
about
kind
the
of
movies.
yearn for Army of the Dead, if that makes you think anything.
No.
Yeah, you're being ridiculous now.
I could tell you right now in like 2 sentences what Army of the Dead is. It would take
Yeah.
a lot more for me to explain this movie to someone who hadn't seen it.
I know. Well, the difference is like for me, that's like more of a compliment than a.
Yeah,
yeah.
sometimes it is, John, but not always.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I actually agree. The most likely situation is Ben Wheatley read an article
Yeah,
about the mycorrhizal network
yes.
and was like, "Do you think I could make a horror movie where the bad guy is the forest?" And I mean, like again, like whether or not he succeeds 100%, like
But is the
it's
bad guy
interesting.
the forest, John, or is the bad guy just the like creepy dude? He's like the like Renfield for the forest that lives out and like pays it tribute.
Well, look, like this is so there's like a lot of stuff that's put forward that is not explained or answered. So like this whole idea of like the ringworm and like the fungi.
That was
like,
a really good
communicating with each
example of a
other.
thing that character says really confidently and doesn't really back it up. The ringworm
Well,
thing.
She didn't need
She
to.
She
though.
goes, "It's
because she
the
said it
ringworm.
happened
Fungus.
before.
It's really important." And it's like, okay, can you give me some like science, or is this just?
Around
that's-
ringworm?
that's the
It's a
crazy thing.
fungus. Like they're all funguses. Eric. That's
I
the-
am
the
blown
point she's
away.
making.
I'm blown.
I think they're
away.
taking a leap of faith that most people know what ringworm is.
Of
and
course,
maybe
I
that's
know
their
what ringworm
mistake.
is. It's a really common thing, but now suddenly it's like the key to all this. I don't know.
Well, it is set up like in the movie.
The ring
like,
term is how the ringworm is how the network would reach out to humans to draw them to her.
Okay, sure.
Hmm.
It
I
all-
didn't pick that up at all.
Yeah, thank you. It also really bugs me that like they, and then this probably maybe a budget thing, but they're telling me, oh, it's chemicals mixed with water vapor floating in the. I'm like, bro, you went to CVS and at Halloween and bought a fog machine. I know that when I see it.
yeah. Yeah.
I
No,
can
they
see
did
the
because we
intern.
saw
I
the
can
slow
see the.
motion cuts of
I-
plants shooting spores in the
I
air.
can see the
I liked
intern off
that.
screen like
Farting
fanning the
mushrooms.
smoke into the. I don't know, dude.
I don't know what to do with this, Eric. You're so angry.
Just don't like it. No, sir, don't like it. It's fine. What did you guys like about it? Keep going.
Sorry, Caitlin. I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, I'm with Eric on that in particular. They talk about the mist, like that fungal mist, for at least 20-25 minutes. They send Alma out in a spacesuit and they have like a little lasso around her and try to wrangle her back in. It's very like, I don't know. That could have been 5 minutes or it could have been cut altogether and I would have been okay.
I did
Yeah,
like.
then
I
it-
love a good mist.
I did like the
drives me
weird.
nuts
I enjoyed the
because
weird.
it starts to constrict. So it's
Yeah.
like they have to do
Yeah.
something.
But they didn't have to spend as much time with Alma in the fog.
Yeah,
I'm with both sides. They could have done.
But
and they
that's
could have
what
done
I
it
mean by
different
this movie
to show
kinda-
the effects.
That's what
I
I
see-
mean.
I
Those are
don't-
the moments where this feels a little navel gazing to me because that's where they want to really get into their quick cutting with the like hallucinations and stuff. You know. What I really
See, I
liked was the tree person. Give me more tree person. That's what I wanted.
Mm. That felt simple. So maybe that's just your. I don't know. I mean, to me, like I don't know. And John, you'll probably agree with me. Like, I didn't feel like any moments in this dragged. Like I thought they kind of jumped right into the not action, but like the meat of it within like 10 minutes. You kind of he gets tested for everything, and then it's just kind of go.
You're totally right. So my issue is more that because they have not given me enough around understanding what's going on in the beginning, I just wasn't really invested. I guess my thing is. You're right. I mean, you're right though. The action does kick off fairly quick.
To me, that's weird fiction to me, that which I'm a fan of, and it's so maybe it's more of a familiarity with it or something like that. It's just when they're dragging along, it's to me it turns more into what the hell's going to happen than what the hell's going on.
I think I'm just trained to be like, when I see 20 straight minutes of exposition at an hour mark in the movie, my brain is just wired to be like, couldn't we have dispersed some of this in other ways from one character?
No, well, the thing about that stuff is like it's said earlier in the movie in like less direct ways, but I do agree with you that he felt like he needed to have her say it exactly. Like it was, you know, it's 20 minutes is a lot. It didn't feel like 20 minutes to me. I mean, there were several. Because it sort of stops and then like picks up.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. There's several scenes of her sort of like explaining to them what she's discovered. But again, it's all teed up by the fact that she's kind of like a crazy scientist who's been living in the woods with no human connection. She says like,
she disappeared and went out of contact for 3
weeks.
Well,
the first thing she says when they get there, she's like, you know, sorry, like I haven't spoken to another human in like however long, like 3 months or something.
A lot of that stuff feels inspired by Annihilation too.
Yeah, it does. Big Annihilation vibes. But my thing is, I don't know, they could have cut the entire Zach plot. Like we could have had one crazy scientist instead of two crazy scientists. I don't know. It just felt like those were sort of disparate. I know.
I would have gone 3 crazy scientists if I'm being honest.
Well, I mean, it sets up this whole like duality of like art and science or whatever you want to call it, like mysticism and science, because that's her whole thing. Is she's like, he's gone crazy. He is trying to like communicate with the forest through art, and she thinks that's crazy. She's using the like light machine and like the sounds and the microphones, and so it's like now. The reveal is like she's they're like basically working together, or like she's like come all the way over to his side. But I actually think that I don't know, like that was the stuff that I was like totally in for. I also think if you don't have Zach, he is the like threat for the entire third act of the film. You think
Zach is crazy forest man?
Yeah, well, it's her ex-husband.
Got it. Right.
But it also sets up the whole ringworm thing too.
Yeah.
I like the sort of like thematic element of sort of like science versus mysticism and how those sort of like commune with psychedelics and hallucinogens and connecting to the universe. But I just like, for whatever reason, I was just like, I don't care. Like, show this to me in a different way.
No, well, that's if it didn't work, like that's, but.
I didn't have a problem with her like whole diatribe in the middle of it either, because they'd set up that she disappeared for 3 weeks and went out of communication. Nobody knew what was going on. He had a feeling that there was something wrong with her and wanted to check in on her. And by the time they got out there and she starts rambling, it's clear that she is not there doing what she was sent there to do. She has gone on to the crazy deep end and getting into it. So that just comes across as crazy scientist.
This film is like five at any given moment, 5 seconds away from telling you that humans are the real disease. Like I guarantee he had that written down one time and he was like, you know what? This might be too on the nose, and went like backspace.
Yeah, but then he gets sued by M. Night.
Well, at one point when she's talking about like you had ringworm, didn't you? And he's like, yeah, I did have ringworm. And she's like, and then you had a thought, and that thought just kept sitting in your head and wouldn't go away. And I was like, yeah, that's how thoughts work. Like that anxiety, like that is a thought. I was just like, that doesn't mean anything to me.
But that's so like the thing I liked about that is like I agree with you. Like it's left. She's like gaslighting him basically about why he's there or how he got there, and like you don't know if she's lying to him or if it's like she could be right. Like that's at least like posited by the film, but like it's certainly not. At the end of the movie, you don't come away going, oh yeah, like that was all definitely like really happening, and their emotional responses to everything that were happening were real as opposed to like medicated, I guess.
Do you think there's going to be a prequel where we learn how he got ringworm? You think that'll be like the? I'd
He
be
was
down
at
for
his
that.
amateur wrestling match. He got it from the
Yeah.
mat.
That took me. The ringworm is disgusting. Like I know it's common, but if you've had it, you're a disgusting human being. And like that, I was just as soon as we found out he had ringworm, I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Cut all this guy's feet off.
Well, he's not like a sympathetic character.
No,
That's
he's
the
not.
thing that
No.
I think
Super
makes this
not.
movie tough.
I liked him, but Eric and I were talking. He's very like oafish, like, and they
Yeah.
don't know how to play him because they do play him for sort of like continuing to chop off further parts of his foot, and it's just like the tone there is very strange, and it's like he is this sort of like bumbling oaf dude who cut his foot
Yeah.
and he just keeps getting
By the
beat out of him. But it's like I also did kind of like. He's so dumb. He's like telling everybody what they're doing constantly. And it's like, he almost looking at him like, dude, shut up. Like Zach doesn't need to know our plans.
by the
Yeah,
third
well, I mean,
time, by the third scene of him passing out, I was like, really? They didn't look back and were like, you know what? Maybe we only need 2 scenes of him passing out. Like, if you were to ask me what this movie about, I'd be like, a tall guy's in the woods and like he's got some kind of inner ear problem because he keeps falling over.
Well, he said like even I mean I don't know how long into like the 3-day hike they are, but he's like, yeah, I didn't really work out. I lied about that. So like automatically you're like, all right, well this guy's not really taking this seriously.
To
Like,
be
it doesn't
fair, he
matter.
walks out the first day and she's smoking a cigarette as they're getting ready to hit the trail.
Yeah, but
She's
I mean,
just a badass ranger.
yeah,
Cool.
So
There's so many points in this movie where in my notes I was like, I would have been out when they said 3-day hike, when they said no GPS, when they had to camp,
Yeah,
when
dude,
he was like
yeah.
out of breath. I was like, oh, I would have been out.
Could
at
I
so many-
get? Do you guys have like a hover round that also goes in the woods by any chance?
yeah,
I liked the soundtrack.
mushrooms though.
I like the soundtrack a lot, and I'm actually gonna look up who it was after this.
Well, so what's crazy? I mean, you talked about the sound design, like, because that's the other way to potentially read this film. Is he was like had this idea about how he wanted to like be in the woods with just like strobe lights and like weird sounds, and he's like, what could I do to get weird sounds and strobe lights? Because those scenes were fucking crazy.
Well, what's
Like,
really
Yeah.
interesting too is, and I think some of you guys do the same thing. For I did this often in the before times, but for the last year, almost every movie I've watched with these headphones, which are like pretty decent. So if it's a movie that's really leaning into the sound design, I'm really like getting that.
yeah,
I didn't
It was
like
great.
the quick cuts though, and the flashing strobes. Like, I was watching on my computer. I had Hocus, my cat, in my lap, and I was like, he's gonna have a seizure. Like, it's gonna.
Yeah.
I could see it in his little glassy eyes that things were happening. It was stressful.
I mean,
There was at least I don't have seizures, but there was even a couple like twice in that movie I had to look away from the screen. It's like, oh god.
I don't have, I mean, I don't have a problem with this kind of interpretation of like a hallucinatory experience. My issue is that from a creative, like, I don't know, moment standpoint, it feels more like the lead up to like the real life moment that's going to happen after. Whereas it's
Yeah.
really kind of the main dish here. Like, and they go back to the well, like the thing we see in the finale, we have already seen all of those same shots in the previous, and then they even just
Yeah.
mix in other random shots of real stuff we saw. It's like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to be.
That
sounds
was
like you
kinda
want
my
a
problem.
sequel, Eric, is what I'm
Yeah.
hearing there.
Well, I'd like to learn
That
more
was
about this
kinda my problem
ringworm
with the end.
situation for starters.
That was kind of my problem with the end, because going through this movie and feel like I was keeping up and had a good idea what was going on, and then we see that big finale hallucinogenic trip that happens at the end. One part of me is like, we've seen it, but at the same time, I don't know exactly how it fits into everything that's going on either.
Fucking
Because
shrooms,
especially-
man. You took a fucking
know.
shrooms.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. What was
Especially
this?
since
Eric
we've
should've
seen it
just-
twice.
What is this
before, it
movie
kinda
called?
took
In the
sting away
Earth,
from it.
right?
Yeah.
In the earth, yeah.
Should have just
Well,
taken some shrooms, Eric. You would have had a better time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wendell kind of has this like
Those are illegal, John.
they have this like climactic experience, and then we just see Dr. Wendell sort of like, thank you, and then she just collapses, and I'm like,
Dude, you know what I wanted? Do you know what I wanted more than anything? Like, they kind of pull back and it's morning and the three of them just look like they're post-trip. Like, you don't see anything crazy going on. It's just the three of them post-trip in the woods. If this movie had told me that these were just friends who went on the woods and ate mushrooms and imagined the entire movie, I would have ran to the internet and been like, you guys have to go see the greatest movie ever made right now. Like, if somebody
but
was just
isn't
like,
that the same as like
wow.
Dallas ending up being Bobby's dream? the
if
entire
somebody was
time?
just like, wow, that was weird. Anyway, you guys want to go get breakfast?
I could have used the scene where they were like raiding the kitchen at this camp, like just eating like Reese's peanut butter cup like cereal.
Oh man.
That was a pretty quality tent cabin that Zach had set up for himself. It had multiple rooms.
Yeah, if he made that like from just like salvage stuff, like
He had a dark room to develop photographs.
I know.
I did like the gag about how the main dude couldn't set his tent up. That was funny.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yours is
I don't
already
think
up."
I could set my tent up either, so.
I mean, I can figure it out. It's, you
I've
know.
watched you try to pitch a tent, John. I agree. You cannot.
How many whiskeys has he had?
It was weird for me watching this Monday night coming off the weekend because we'd watched Cruella that come out on Disney Plus over the weekend, and Joel Fry, who plays Martin, was like a pretty big role in Cruella, and he was actually really good. So it's nice to see that dude's got some range.
Oh yeah, I mean, like
This is the
interested.
main guy.
Yeah.
See, he was on Game of Thrones, and he played a real weenie kind of character on that movie in that show.
Who was he on Game of Thrones?
He's the guy that Joe, can you mute please for like the next 30 seconds? I don't want to hear what it is. He's the guy who Daenerys marries in the like Golden City or whatever to try to like quell the uprising or whatever. So he plays a real like snivelly kind of character, and he's so good at it. I can't get it out of my head when I see him.
Yeah. No, I know who you're talking about now.
Okay.
Is he the throne? Does he win the Game of Thrones?
He doesn't
Is he
actually.
the winner at the end?
He actually gets burned alive by a dragon, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, well. No reason to watch that show now. It's been
From the-
spoiled.
At least I think he does. He does in the books. I get them mixed up.
Oh, he was in Paddington too as the postman. By the way, John, you buried the lead on what's his name who directed this, because he is directing the forthcoming Meg 2. Based on
Oh.
the yeah.
Interesting.
That's
Get it.
amazing.
I mean, that's like a big step up from. Was it who did the first one? Wasn't it?
I think Jason Statham actually directed and wrote it as well. I think.
Shout out to Clint Mansell, who did the score for this movie.
True.
Yeah.
Clint, good old Clint. You've always been a bit of a Clintophile.
I'm looking at the other stuff he's done here. It's nothing that I've. Oh, okay. That's not true. He did the soundtrack to Requiem for a Dream and The Fountain. So this guy has worked with what's his
There you
face there,
go.
John? Yeah.
Does he specialize on speakers mounted on forest trees?
And he's done some work on Black Mirror as well.
This is riveting.
It is, yeah. I like people who score movies, Joe.
Tune in next week.
Listen,
Eric reads IMDb.
It's the
credits.
positive thing I had to say about it, so.
Fair enough. All right, I think we're good here, right?
So it did turn out to be a compliment sandwich, John. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. Nice work.
You know what I do recommend, John? Bo Burnham's Netflix special. It's incredible.
Dude.
I've been hearing.
I don't understand how anyone tolerates that guy. Like, I've watched like 10 minutes of it. I don't get it.
Oh,
I
it's
don't get the love.
Freaking brilliant, dude.
All right,
You and I are
guess.
different people, Joe. I think that's clear.
No, I mean, I moved 900 miles away from Brooklyn to get away from that shit. But I guess
Actually, Joe, talking about health awareness month. There's a lot in there about mental health and the value of one's work in a pandemic society. It's interesting.
I don't know. I haven't seen his new one. There was on like HBO or Showtime or something. He had a special, and I felt like it was on every day for about 3 months, and just.
So this
I
new
think there
one,
was like camera, like a projector, a slide projector involved or something.
so he's like holed up basically in his apartment during the pandemic, just looking like a slob and like battling depression and making songs about it. Basically, it's pretty good. It's pretty interesting.
All right, maybe that would be interesting. I
All
don't
right.
want to take away from the guy.
Would you recommend In the Earth though, Caitlin?
No, I think I'm good.
Jonathan,
Yes.
Joseph,
I'm gonna go yes also.
Casey.
Yes.
It's a big old no for me. So that's a 3-2. There you go. Mixed bag.
Yeah.
All right.
We haven't had a real like a straight divide in a while.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
know.
like it. It feels good. I'm gonna add it to your best of list. Though,
Please
just a
don't.
heads up.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
But that's okay. By the time we record next, Eric will decide that we all hated it.
I remember no one liking that, for the record. All right, guys. It is time. Let's take a quick break. Actually, we're gonna wait a second because I haven't loaded up a bumper for this week. Why don't you guys talk for a second?
All right. Any other soundtrack credits from Clinty?
Yeah, it actually looks like he's basically done all the Aronofsky movies, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. There
So
you
there
go.
you go. I'm ready. All right, guys, let's take a quick break and do some fan mail.
That's all trick. A nightmare that never ends. He came back to finish what they'll never forget. How do you kill what's not alive? Donald Pleasance, Jamie Lee Curtis, the broadcast debut of Halloween 2. The night he came home. A debut network special presentation coming up next.
Hey guys, this is Danielle Harris. You might know me from some of the Halloween movies, and you're listening to Bloody Good Horror.
Send feedback to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or on Twitter using hashtag AskBGH. Join Patreon to get back episodes and much more. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror.
And we're back. Weekly reminder, John. I have new music out. It's on Bandcamp.
Bandcamp Friday. This Friday. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. So the first Friday of every month, Bandcamp waives basically their cut that they take from artists. So like if you purchased it the day this show comes out on Friday, then all of your money would go to me and not Bandcamp. That's cool.
I've been saving a lot of money
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, good. You
for
should.
this Friday.
You can pay as much as you want, John. I know that's what you were waiting for.
Oh, yikes!
There's a little
Well, it
name
can
your
go
price
either way,
button,
Eric. I
Schnars.
hate
That's
to
all I'm
tell you.
saying. Yeah, anyway, you go to Bandcamp, search Hi-Fi, HY-FY. It is synthy music. Some of it's spooky. I had a lot of BGH fans go in on it, send me messages. I really appreciate all the love that last week. So that was really cool.
Is there a limited edition multicolor vinyl, Eric?
No.
Because
Fun fact,
then
Joe. I know you didn't know this when you brought that up. There is currently a crisis in the vinyl industry because vinyl has become so popular that the little like niche houses that were still doing it cannot keep up with demand. And so right now, even like labels who are trying to do vinyl, it's a 2-year waiting list.
Wow.
And a lot of the
that is interesting.
there's only like a handful of places on earth that still do it. So I would guess it's a business opportunity is what it is, but
All right. Well, I'll pre-order mine with you, and
Yeah.
I'll.
so
I'll
a lot
expect
of
mine in
like
2 years.
a
He's
lot
in no rush.
a lot of
All
indie
right.
musicians now are actually turning back to both CDs and cassettes, which is kind of cool.
Mm.
I'm sorry, yeah, CDs and cassettes. So I've actually priced out some cassettes because I thought that'd be cool.
Interesting.
But yeah,
I
hi-fi.
didn't like cassettes when they were the only thing to listen to.
You know, John,
Yeah.
there's a lot of nostalgia for it, and I think people are getting back to the love of physical media, and
Oh man, yeah.
I
I
love.
just think about how many songs I listen to on like MC Hammer albums that like, why were you listening to this other than like you couldn't easily fast forward to the next song?
See, it's
Well,
cool. I
8-track,
love
John.
vinyl.
Did you ever
I'm
have
like,
8-track?
No,
Oh, yeah.
no, I didn't.
Yeah.
My
I
parents.
had some 8-track. It was in.
I
Yeah, it was
didn't.
even more.
I didn't. My parents do. They have the OG Star Wars soundtrack on 8-track.
Ooh.
That's pretty great.
I'm pretty in on vinyl. I just don't like how expensive it is. Here's what bugs me is like, I would love to get vinyl from like 80s and 90s records. But you ever go to like, you got to find a legit vinyl shop. Because if you go to like a thrift store, it's only just trash from the 50s and 60s that no one will ever want.
Yeah.
You gotta go to garage sales.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
that's where the gold mine is.
that's a good point. So yeah. Hi-Fi on Bandcamp. Let's see. We got a message from John this week in random marketers who email us things. Info@bloodygoodhorror.com. Care Dog Best. That's one word. Personalized dog harness, all sizes from XS to XL. Easy on off in just 2 seconds. Lifetime warranty. Click here. caredogbest.online. There's another .online. John.
Like
That's
you
from
are
Lula?
giving them so much free advertising right now.
Yeah, they're gonna blow up.
This is
Literally dozens of people have heard this now that we're
Yeah. They're gonna see like some spike tomorrow or on Friday when this is released.
This is from
They'll be
Lula.
like, what happened?
This week's John hero in marketing is Lula, just so you know.
All right, that's cool.
Next up, this is from a fellow named John. Caitlin, you're gonna want to listen to this one. Hey, BGH crew, I know that some of you live in Richmond, Virginia. It's just Caitlin for the record, John. I own Bookbinder's Seafood and Steakhouse in Shockoe Bottom. Shockoe Bottom, does that make sense to you?
Shock bottom.
Are you familiar with this place, Caitlin?
Yeah.
Bookbinders. Just listen to the Army of the Dead episode, terrible movie, and heard you guys talking about the best things you've ever eaten. One of the crew said they had a $60 steak in Vegas, and it tasted like one. BGH Richmond crew, you are invited as my guest to dinner at Bookbinders. You can enjoy that $60 steak or the $82 surf and turf or whatever your horror movie watching hearts desire. It's my way of giving back. Sorry, Patreon, but this is just easier for me and guarantee more satisfying for you. And then I have his email address here, which I'll forward you, Caitlin. And I have his cell phone number. Joe, you can text. I'll give you his cell, Joe, so you can text him.
Yo, I'll drive down there. What do I gotta do? Okay,
Leslie's family is all in Richmond, and next time we go down, I 100% will go to Bookbinders.
Okay, so now you want to come to Richmond when this guy's offering free steak, but not to see me.
I mean,
Caitlin,
Caitlin, it's free steak.
No. I mean,
we
John,
already flew our way out there. We're gonna stop and say hi.
He says, just so you know, there's plenty of stuff on social media for me to verify who I am. I hope you take me up on this offer. But regardless, I truly enjoy listening to you guys. So I'll forward that to everyone, and you guys do with that what you will.
It's got a raw bar. Fuck yeah. What's this guy's name? John?
John, yeah.
Yeah, great name, too.
Yeah, I'm there.
Great name, great city. John, fellow Richmonder, I love you, buddy. I'm super stoked.
Caitlin, I'm very curious. Are you getting the cicadas?
People have been talking about them. I don't know if it's that...
It is like cicada central here in Maryland, so I didn't know if, like, you know.
I don't go
maybe
outside that much, so I'm not sure.
I would love to know about Bookbinder's world famous snapper soup, which is apparently it's a thing.
The grandpa shit you
Isn't the snapper one of those fish you got to look out for because people sell like other fish that are called that? It's not a whole thing.
Is it a fish or is it
maybe
a turtle?
Maybe that's grouper.
Jumbo lumpkin. This place is fucking fancy. Crab cake, $38, John.
I'm pretty sure they had an event at Bookbinders one time. It's a really nice place.
I'm there.
And
there we go, John. You're getting some free advertising right here, right now. Like,
check it out.
Try the snapper soup, John.
There you go.
Is that a full meal, Joe? What do you think?
Oh no, that's
appetizer.
That's an appetizer or anytizer, as you might call it, because you could make a meal out of it.
It's true. Mendy's. All right.
Great city.
Next up, Caitlin and Kissimmee. Can we please get a pic recreation from Schnars? So she sent a picture. I did not know any of this information. We pieced this together pre-show. Sebastian Stan, who for people who don't know, the original John Schnars lookalike. He all the way back to before he was like Bucky. Like we've been on the Sebastian Stan train for a long time, John.
I can't. Yeah. What was there was some movie we watched.
It was a real bad.
Yeah, like paranormal.
Yes, paranormal possession.
Yeah.
Okay. And anyway, so he is apparently playing Tommy Lee in a movie about Pam and Tommy Lee, which is like kind of amazing.
Oh God.
And so she sent this picture. I actually put it in Slack and I put it in the chat here. John, like with the long hair, you got this. All you need is the fake tattoos.
Well,
you already have you already have the bird-like physique. You're halfway there.
I've said that Sebastian Stan's people. All you got to do is reach out. Like somebody get a message to Sebastian Stan's agent. Have him call or her.
Do you need yeah, if he's ever gonna play a character with like a dad bod, Schnars will just tap in.
Yeah, what? Dude, come on. I don't know. I'm ready. I'll race Sebastian Stan tomorrow.
Yeah. I think John's the least guilty of all of us of having a
You
dad
just
bod.
have to wait for his break from the set of American Gladiators.
I have more of a dad bod than Shark does.
Who's the woman playing Pam? That's what I can't figure out. in that
Okay, her
photo.
name is Lily James. Is that right?
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
talking about this pre-show.
Yeah, and
Joe.
She was Cinderella.
Oh.
we saw her in which one was it, guys? Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Yeah.
All right.
And Downton Abbey.
Yeah, she
All
plays a lot of like British high society ladies.
Follow-up question. Have you seen the patio at Bookbinders? It is gorgeous.
John, I hope you know John or Joe is booking like his vacation the second he gets off here.
I can't wait. Like next time,
Joe
the
is
wife's gonna
not
know
a-
something's up because she's gonna say, "Oh, we're going down to see my family in Richmond," and I'm gonna be like, "Absolutely, that sounds great."
Joe is not-
She's gonna know something.
Joe is not
We're gonna
above
go
planning an
Bookbinders,
entire
we're gonna go
vacation.
for-
Joe will
We
plan
have-
an entire vacation for a single meal, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna go from there to the Poe Museum, and they have Unhappy Hour. There's a band called the Embalmers that plays there. There's the Richmond Horror Club. John and I are gonna set it up.
Yeah, no, I want to do none of that, Caitlin. I just want to go to Bookbinders, and I don't want to interact with anybody else.
Yeah.
Some fucking alt rock band trying to do spooky shit. I don't want to hear it.
That I make that sound a lot around here, Caitlin. Last up tonight, we got a message from Alyssa. Alyssa runs the BGH Book Club. It's summertime, and there's no better time to read a spooky book. For June, the BGH Book Club will be reading The Family Plot by Sherry Priest. While emptying out an old house for salvage, Dolly uncovers something else. I'm guessing it's spooky, whatever it is. We are on Reddit, our BGH Book Club, Twitter at BGH Book Club, and the reading challenge can also be found on Storygraph. I don't know what that is, but I'm sure nerds do. Thank you, Alyssa. There you go.
Alyssa will also be on an upcoming episode of Plug It Up, and she was on with Adam, and then she'll be doing a solo episode on The Exorcist with me. So
Very nice.
Ooh.
Hey-oh.
Yeah, I shouldn't say nerds. I love my book people. I'm reading a book right now, John.
Whoa,
First
whoa,
one in
whoa, whoa.
2021.
not to brag.
No big deal.
Take it
Just
easy,
Game of
buddy.
Thrones again.
Take it easy.
No, I'm reading actually, Joe. I'm reading one of the books from one of the people who escaped the Nexium cult.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I would totally be down for
That's
that.
real good.
You
Who?
guys
Which
start
one?
your own book
What is-
club.
She is the one that was in the New York Times story that had like the actual brand. Like she was right out in front when that story broke.
Oh, there's a couple.
She's in
It's
the
not,
document. She's in the documentary too.
Got it. India or
No.
the other woman?
No, Sarah, I think is her name. She's got brown
Yeah.
hair. Canadian.
Maybe after check out some of her Lifetime or Hallmark movies.
Oh, that's right, because she's
might
an
be
actress. That's right. So
Yep.
her and her husband also have a podcast they do that I've been listening to. That's really good. It's called A Little Bit Culty, and it covers like all different areas of like organizations that sort of like cross over into this cult territory. Like they have an
What's
episode
her-
on
Her
MLMs.
husband has an
and,
interesting
like,
name, right? It's like Chip or
his
like
Nippy.
Nippy. That's
Yeah,
it.
it's like
yeah.
his nickname. It has something to do with his middle name.
There's lots of people named Chip, I think. Nippy. I
Yeah,
don't know
a
anyone
lot.
named Nippy. So,
So there you go. Anyway, that's the recommend for me, John. You know I can't read a book without telling people about it because I do so
Well,
little.
yeah, I mean, there's only
I'm
like 4 or
smart.
5 you gotta.
I can do
mention,
things.
so-
Joe, that's it on email. What do we got on Twitter?
We are on Twitter at BG Horror. We use the hashtag AskBGH. You want to send in a question or comment or whatever? First up from our buddy Skizbot, Army of the Dead Zombie Tiger versus Annihilation Zombie Bear. Who wins?
Zombie
Ooh,
bear.
that zombie bear.
Hands down. Because
Yeah.
it screams like a human and that's terrifying.
Well, the zombie bear I feel like was like 3 times larger than that tiger
Yeah.
too.
But like it opens its mouth and it uses the voice of the person that it had just killed. But it sounds like it's like tortured. It's real messed up.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, combined, that's like 9 hours of movie. So I think we all lose. All right, COW Flanagan. He changed his little picture there, icon. It looks like a man eating a hoagie. He's the hoagie lover, John. On a quote-unquote date, I don't know why that's in quotes, a person of the night told me my dork looked like half an otter pop. I asked what flavor, and they said vomit. What's the nicest thing anyone has said to you about your appearance?
Oh my god, dude.
Jesus.
What's an otter pop?
It's
Otter
an
Pop?
ice cream confection.
No. The Otter Pops are like those freezy treats. They're
Yeah.
the
They're like the 2-bar things.
yes, yeah. No, not the 2-bar. The ones that come in like the little
Sicklewood.
plastic sleeves, almost the tall.
Freeze
They're
pop.
pastel colored.
Yeah, like a
he
freezy
said
Oh,
pop.
freeze
half an
pop.
otter pop, so I didn't know. Like,
It's a freeze pop. That's right. That's right.
yeah. All right.
I've learned there's a lot of regional variations on what you call that.
Yeah, that's. I would not have. I don't think we ever called them that, but
I think that's a brand name.
I feel like Otter Pop is a West Coast thing.
I had a creeper once tell me I look like Sebastian Stan like 1,000 times.
Really interesting. Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think any of us should answer this question.
Not anyway.
We can't top it.
Yeah. Next up from my number one fan, Renee, Deus Ex Manatee. If you were going to hallucinate wildly in the forest, and you can't take any, I'm sorry. If you were going to hallucinate wildly in the forest and you could take anyone with you, who would you choose?
A sober person.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well,
I
If there's
I would
only
probably
two
take
people,
Leslie,
you-
my
Alma.
wife.
If there's
Right.
only two people, you probably want the other one to be sober.
Nah, man.
What was
I would
the
take
ranger's name.
yeah, Alma. Yeah, she
Alma. Alma Mater.
Nah, I want the dude with the machete. He seemed cool.
I don't think you have to pick someone from this movie.
I know.
Those are the only people I can think about right now.
The wife and I, we have a great time when we get super high together. So I just feel like that would be a lot of fun in the woods too. Just tripping balls. I mean, I guess what kind of tripping, right? Like, are we just talking like mushrooms, or are we talking like full on fucking like peyote or something? Like, I don't- yeah. All right, that's it for Twitter. We're over on the Insta tweets too. Instagram, Bloody Good Horror. Every Tuesday we post up. Yesterday I almost forgot. I think Caitlin, you reminded me. So it didn't get out till late at night. But we got a gaggle here. First up though, from our friend who refuses to use the form. By the way, other people do not use the form, and there's only one that I'll actually read. The rest of you I fucking hate. Like it drives me insane. Like,
She claimed the title first.
yeah, exactly. I think this one is on purpose, right? Just
it's a thing.
to agitate me. The other ones I just feel like are being lazy. So, you might as well have ringworm in my eyes. Joe, what pubescent horror do you want to come discuss on Plug It Up? I want to see Joe Charnew's energy on a podcast about boners and periods. Please give me this.
Was that
I
from
don't know.
Caitlin?
I've thought about this,
no.
Caitlin. Like, I don't know what movie. I'm not good at like thinking of like, oh, that would be a great one. So whenever it comes to you, you just let me know.
I've got a list of about 80 movies so far, so I'll send it to you.
Oh, awesome.
Well.
Yeah, absolutely. Send me that, and I'll tell you none of these are working for me, and then we'll go
I
from
know.
Make him watch Ginger Snaps again.
fuck that. I will never watch that movie again. All right. Over on our usuals, what's the point of factory work? I don't even know what that means. Like what?
To make
like,
things?
To make the shit that you like to buy off
Like
Amazon.
I feel like that's a reference to something that I'm just not understanding.
What did you answer when you were on Instagram?
This one just came in because I didn't post this up until late last night, so I haven't answered.
Joe,
that
we
one yet.
should say you didn't send out your weekly Patreon email, and there was mass chaos on Slack.
You know what? My office was nice enough to give us Tuesday off too after the long weekend. We actually had Friday through Tuesday off, so like I was just completely off. Today was my first day back at work in almost a week.
Same.
So
That's amazing.
yeah, everything was a disaster. Are there any other countries, horror movies you constantly enjoy? I'd say Ireland and New Zealand.
I do really love Irish horror movies. There's something just like fun, and I like the setting. It's very like comforting to me for some reason. It's where my people are from,
Yeah.
Joe.
The
Canada.
Zealand
New
stuff is
Zealand.
all great. Yeah.
I'd say Canada makes me like just feel fine. Like it's not. I'm like, oh, this could be
For
Canada.
me, with the Irish films, I feel like there's always a very specific dry sense of humor that I very much relate to, and also like there's like a heart to them. It's always there's always this small town kind of heart vibe to it.
Is the question about movies set, or is it about they have to be from there?
I think
I would guess
assume
from
there.
From there, yeah.
I mean, Japanese stuff is always crazy.
Yeah.
We haven't seen one in a while, actually. But
I feel like Korean horror has really picked up. There's a really Korean zombie period drama, not period drama like I do, but period drama as in a different time.
Yeah, we got you.
But it's called Kingdom, and it was really good. And we also got #Alive. I think that was a K horror too. So there's
Kingdom was like a show, right?
Train to
That was
Busan.
yeah, Kingdom's
Train
a
to
series.
Busan
It's
was
really
Korean.
good.
Is that right?
Yeah. Australia's always got some few gems that pops out that entertain me.
Because Train to Busan is Korean, right?
Korean, yeah.
Okay, so they just did that on the last drive-in. I'm not a massive fan of it, but you know what I did catch that same night was a good chunk of the prequel like anime.
The animated prequel is really good.
Dude, it's so creepy. It's really cool. Like I actually think I like it more than the movie in some ways.
It's it's as gutting as Train to Busan is. But really good.
It just like tells the story of everything leading up to like right where the movie starts, basically.
I was reminded while watching Joe Bob of how much you say gutted. That kid is so annoying, and like the father does not love her. Like I feel nothing at the end. Like
you went really hard against that kid.
I get choked up over like a gum commercial if there's like a father-daughter, but that movie I'm just like, nah, fuck it.
Joe was like, this kid sucks at singing. I hope she dies.
Yeah, well, no, the father would have tried to live, like would have fought harder if his kid didn't suck so much. All right, next up, favorite movie with Rutger Hauer.
Ooh.
Surviving the game. Done.
I went with Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
He's real. I mean,
look.
he's real good in like everything he's in.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't he in Alien or is it Aliens? He's in one of those.
He is in neither of those movies, I don't think.
No, Blade Runner, I guess is what I.
Yeah.
What was that one where he was blind and had a samurai sword?
What?
No idea.
I don't know, dude.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
You made that movie up, Casey.
Yeah.
I did not.
Why was this so late? I mean, I already explained my situation. Who you gonna call?
I don't know, Rutger Hauer, maybe?
Yeah.
I think he died, right?
Is he dead?
Did he?
I think so.
Oh no.
That's a
died 2019. Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah. What do you think? I'm just making shit up? I'm reading the Wikipedia or the.
To be fair, I have done that like number of times.
By the way,
I mean I've gotten it wrong, but
the Rutger Hauer Blind Swordman movie is Blind Fury.
Gone but not forgotten. How was your Memorial Day weekend? Did you make great memories?
Not really.
It rained. It rained all weekend in the Northeast, and then I got a cold at the end of it, so that was cool.
Oh.
We had friends come visit from New York, just a couple, and I drank more in 3 days than I drank in a while.
Oh, did you like blackout, John?
I was going to the John Happy place a couple times. You know.
I like it.
Yeah.
What's Suze do like when this is going down? Like, what is she like annoyed with it, or is she like all for it?
Oh well, I mean, you guys, I'm not like raging or like I'm just kind of like.
Did
goofy,
you
like,
or did you not go mute and get to that state where all you can do is giggle?
Yeah, it was mostly like that direction,
Interesting.
John just goes. He goes. He becomes Silent Bob all of a sudden.
Yeah. Were you pulling mystery cigarettes out of nowhere?
No.
But then you weren't too bad off yet.
Here's a good one. What's wrong with me? How can I be fixed?
Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah. It's over. Sorry. You would have gotten us last week. We could have helped you. Favorite fast food entree?
Oh, spicy potato soft taco from Taco Bell, 1,000%. Extra chipotle sauce.
I'm also going Taco Bell. I'm gonna say a Baja Gordita, which I don't even know. If
I haven't been to a
anymore.
Taco Bell in a decade. I gotta go check this out.
What? Jesus Christ,
I mean, like I'm saying, I've been missing out. I think I'm gonna go sausage McMuffin with egg. Like,
yeah, McDonald's breakfast is pretty solid. I would go White Castle cheeseburger. Like there are few things in the world as beautiful as that.
You guys remember that
They-
horror hound in like 2008 or 9 when I had White Castles for the first time, and just it was just like there's a picture of me somewhere with just this look of bliss on my face.
In the back seat of my car.
And I started
boy.
I liked it so good I started buying them from the frozen section.
The frozen ones are not terrible.
They're not. You just
Yeah.
gotta heat them up. There's a whole there's a whole strategy to heating them up so you don't dry the buns out.
Yeah.
I would say though, to my answer to the question, Joe's the only one that probably has one around. He could check it out. But Portillo's, which is known for its Italian beef and Italian sausage, actually has really damn good cheeseburgers too.
Yeah. Oh my God, their burgers are amazing.
They
They're
are
so good. Yeah. Portillo's partially responsible for the 30 pounds I gained in like the first 6 months we moved here. Like it is, yeah.
Good
there
stuff.
are not many things that I think the Midwest has superior to the East Coast in food, but Portillo's, they fuck you up. It is delicious. We have one literally like 5 minutes from my house. Like I could
nice.
walk there. It's not great.
Portillo's, you can get a milkshake with a piece of chocolate cake in it.
A slice of chocolate cake in the milkshake. It's unreal. And then you could get everything. You can get ribs. You can get pasta. You can get
Fish.
everything. Oh, it's so good. All right. Did you forget? Yes, I did. Thank you, Caitlin, for reminding me. Last but not least, any plans for future meetups? Might I suggest Salem because I am lazy and live here? I think we're next year Atlanta, I think, is the plan right now. So
Yeah, the problem with Salem is it's pretty much as expensive as everything in Boston is. So
it's hefty, yeah.
it's a problem.
Well, my new best friend John and I are going to plan a sweet Richmond one, and Joe.
I know we might be lining up Richmond for after Atlanta.
Oh, I don't get to go to your fucking horror rockabilly club?
Or Hollywood Cemetery with us and eat at Cuba Cuba, which is my other favorite restaurant in Richmond.
Well, can I just go to this delicious restaurant, enjoy my meal there?
We're going to put your photo on the wall. And you're gonna...
I don't think John's going to do that. I think John's going to... Me and John, we're going to...
Allegiances to you. We are both from Richmond.
John.
John, write in. Info at Bloody Good Horror.
John, I got the BGH credit card, all right?
He thinks he does.
That's it.
Sweet. Thank you for that, Joe. I think we're taking next week off. Get some scheduling stuff going on, and then we'll be back. I think reviewing a Conjuring. John, is that right?
We got a Conjuring coming. The Devil Made Me Do It, I believe, is the
I
subtitle.
tried
The court
re-
drama.
Oh, good. That's what I was missing out of the Conjuring series. I tried rewatching the original one as like a background noise recently, and got like 10 minutes in. I was like, nope, can't do it.
Really? I loved the original.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
just 2021. I don't care.
The second one I did not care for. Like,
Yeah,
to the point where I thought it was unwatchable. But
they all blend together for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
When are we gonna get a new Paranormal Activity? That's what I want.
They're working on
I'm ready to
something, I
go
thought.
back to it. I'm good with the Wannaverse at this point. Anyway, so that's what we're gonna do, and then we got a bunch of summer releases coming down the pike here. We might be back in a theater soon. Casey, July you can go, right?
Actually, mine just opened up this week.
Nice.
Like over the weekend.
So we're getting closer there.
Yeah.
Might be happening soon. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for In the Earth. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you soon.
See you.
Bye.
goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.